When power meets protocol, the most unexpected stories unfold. Today's video reveals what happened when a security guard failed to recognize one of the most famous athletes in history at his own event. Comment where you're watching from, because this story will leave you speechless. The year was 2019, and Chicago's United Center was buzzing with anticipation. The arena that had witnessed countless legendary moments was hosting a special charity event. The security team was briefed to maintain strict protocols, and among them stood Quincy Mercer, a man who took his job more seriously than most. Now, Quincy wasn't your typical security guard. Having served 15 years in various high-profile venues, he had developed an unwavering commitment to rules. His colleagues, like Rowan Blair and Phoenix Cruz, often joked about his rigid adherence to protocol, but they couldn't deny his effectiveness. Even venue supervisor Jasper King had praised Quincy's dedication, though sometimes suggesting he could be more flexible. The evening started routinely enough. VIPs arrived through the designated entrance, each following standard check-in procedures. Quincy maintained his usual stoic demeanor, verifying credentials with methodical precision. He had turned away several well-dressed individuals who lacked proper documentation, earning both respect and frustration from his peers. What made Quincy's approach unique was his background. Growing up in Chicago's South Side, he had learned the hard way that appearances could be deceiving. His mentor, veteran security professional Roman Vale, had taught him an invaluable lesson. In this line of work, reputation means nothing without proper credentials. The tension began building when a black SUV pulled up to the VIP entrance. The vehicle itself wasn't unusual, dozens like it had arrived throughout the evening, but what happened next would become part of United Center legend. A tall figure emerged from the car, accompanied by an entourage that included Zane Whitaker, a well-known event coordinator, and Everett Stone, a prominent sports executive. The group approached the entrance with the casual confidence of those accustomed to VIP treatment. However, Quincy noticed something immediately. The tall figure in the center wasn't wearing his credential badge. While everyone else displayed their passes prominently, he simply walked forward, perhaps assuming his identity would be enough. Quincy's colleague, Callum Ford, shifted uncomfortably beside him. Most of the security team had already recognized the approaching figure, but Quincy remained focused on protocol. As the group neared the checkpoint, murmurs rippled through the nearby staff. Felix Mercer, another guard, tried catching Quincy's attention, but Quincy's eyes were fixed on the missing credential. The moment of confrontation arrived with the quiet intensity of an approaching storm. The group reached the security checkpoint, and while others began moving through, Quincy stepped forward, raising his hand in a polite but firm gesture. "Sir, I'll need to see your credentials," he stated, his voice professional and unwavering. The tall figure paused, a hint of surprise, crossing his features. Behind him, Zane Whitaker's eyes widened, and Everett Stone stepped forward, beginning to speak. But Quincy maintained his position, embodying the principles that had guided his career. The following exchange would demonstrate how true professionalism transcends fame and status. What made this moment particularly striking was the reaction of bystanders. August Klein, a veteran photographer who had captured countless celebrity encounters, later described the scene as surreal. The usual bustle of the VIP entrance had frozen, creating a tableau of suspended animation. Everyone waited to see how this unexpected challenge to authority would unfold. In the security booth nearby, Camden Holt watched the scene unfold through the monitors, his hand hovering over the radio. The tension in the air was palpable, but Quincy remained composed, his posture reflecting years of training and unwavering principle. This wasn't about power or recognition. It was about maintaining the standards that kept everyone safe. The growing crowd included Elias Kane, a local sports journalist who had covered hundreds of events at the United Center. He would later write that in all his years reporting, he had never witnessed such a pure collision of protocol and celebrity. The silence that descended over the entrance area seemed to stretch time itself, making seconds feel like minutes. As the situation teetered on the edge of potential conflict, something remarkable happened. Instead of displaying frustration or pulling rank, the tall figure's expression shifted to one of respect. This reaction would soon become a testament to true greatness, not just in sports, but in character. The other security team members, including Cyrus Bellamy and Asher Doyle, watched with a mixture of anxiety and admiration. They knew Quincy's reputation for being uncompromising, but this situation was unprecedented. The whispers among the staff carried equal measures of concern and respect for their colleagues' unwavering dedication. What happened next would not only diffuse the tension, but also create a moment that would be shared countless times across social media and sports networks. It would become a story about respect, professionalism, and the unexpected ways in which greatness reveals itself. But before that resolution, the scene remained frozen in that delicate balance between protocol and fame, duty and recognition, rules and reality. The onlookers, including Bennett Knox and Emmett Rhodes, held their breath. This confrontation was different from typical security incidents. It carried a weight that everyone present could feel, a moment where the normal rules of celebrity and status were being tested against the simple, fundamental principles of doing one's job right. As the seconds ticked by, the silence grew heavier. Maddox Reed, a veteran event coordinator, later commented that he had never seen the VIP entrance so still. The usual efficient flow of guests had completely stopped, all eyes fixed on this unexpected standoff between a security guard and one of basketball's greatest icons. The resolution, when it came, would demonstrate why true legends earn their status not just through their achievements, but through their character. It would become a story shared in security training sessions, sports documentaries, and motivational speeches. But at that moment, everything hung in the balance, waiting for the next move in this unexpected encounter. What happened next would not only resolve the immediate situation, but would also teach everyone present a valuable lesson about respect, professionalism, and the importance of doing the right thing, regardless of who stands before you. The events that followed would transform a potential confrontation into a moment of mutual respect that would be remembered for years to come. Little did Quincy know that his unwavering commitment to protocol would not only test his principles, but would also create a viral moment that would inspire millions. As tension mounted at the United Center's VIP entrance, the stage was set for an unforgettable lesson in integrity, respect, and the true nature of greatness. The atmosphere at the United Center continued to thicken as Quincy Mercer stood his ground. What made this moment particularly fascinating was the complex web of reactions unfolding around him. Soren Bishop, the event's head coordinator, watched from the upper level, his hands gripped tightly around his tablet as he debated whether to intervene. In the background, Elias Dre, the venue's security director, was already moving through, the crowd having been alerted to the situation. But he wasn't rushing. Something about Quincy's composed demeanor suggested this wasn't a typical security incident. The gathered crowd, including several notable figures from Chicago's sports scene, watched with a mixture of disbelief and growing respect. Abram West, a veteran sports broadcaster who had witnessed countless memorable moments in this very arena, would later describe the scene as electric with unspoken tension. The way Quincy maintained his professional composure, even as whispers rippled through the gathering crowd, spoke volumes about his character. The situation became even more intriguing when Luca Donovan, the event's media coordinator, emerged. From the press area, he had caught wind of the developing situation and recognized its potential significance. However, instead of intervening, he held back, instinctively understanding that something remarkable was unfolding. Near the entrance, Isla Vance, a senior event organizer, watched with growing concern. She had witnessed countless VIP arrivals over the years, but this was different. The way Quincy stood, calm and unwavering, created a striking contrast with the usually smooth, almost automated process of celebrity check-ins. The security team's radio channels were surprisingly quiet. Clara Hartley, manning the communication hub, later revealed that an unusual silence had fallen over the usually busy network. It was as if everyone was holding their breath, waiting to see how this unprecedented situation would resolve itself. Ivy Sinclair, one of the veteran security supervisors, had trained countless guards over the years. She would later use this incident as a prime example in her training sessions, pointing out how Quincy's body language remained professional and non-threatening, even in the face of immense pressure. The tension reached a new level when Celeste Quinn, the event's public relations director, emerged from her office, having been alerted to the situation. She moved through the crowd with purpose, but something made her pause. The scene before her wasn't one of conflict. It was a masterclass in professional integrity. Eden Locke, a security consultant who happened to be present that evening, observed how Quincy's stance perfectly embodied the principles they taught. In high-level security training, there was no aggression, no ego, just calm, professional insistence on following established protocols. The murmurs in the crowd grew when Lyra Stone, a celebrated sports photographer, raised her camera. She recognized the historical significance of what was unfolding, though security protocols prevented her from actually taking photos. The moment was being etched into memory rather than film. Tessa Greer, who had organized numerous high-profile events at the United Center, watched from the sidelines. She later commented that in all her years of experience, she had never seen someone handle such a delicate situation with such remarkable poise. The situation took another turn when Hazel Maddox, head of guest relations, received an urgent message about the developing situation. But as she approached the scene, she noticed something unusual. The tall figure at the center of this incident wasn't displaying any signs of irritation. Instead, there was what appeared to be growing respect in his expression. Wren Holloway, a senior security team member, had positioned herself nearby, ready to support her colleague if needed. But she, like others, found herself impressed by how Quincy was handling the situation. His unwavering professionalism was turning what could have been a confrontational moment into something entirely different. The crowd continued to grow, with Bryn Carter, an experienced event coordinator, trying to manage the gathering onlookers while maintaining a clear space around the entrance. The energy in the air was unlike anything she had experienced in her decade-long career at the venue. Evangeline Holt, overseeing the VIP guest list, watched the scene unfold with a mixture of professional concern and growing admiration. She had dealt with countless celebrity arrivals, but this situation was rapidly becoming a lesson in integrity that no training manual could adequately capture. Noelle Drake, one of the venue's senior managers, had begun making her way to the entrance when she noticed something remarkable. The typical signs of a security situation, tension, aggression, raised voices, were notably absent. Instead, there was an almost ceremonial quality to the scene. What made this moment particularly powerful was how it challenged the usual dynamics of celebrity interactions. Livia Dean, a cultural commentator present that evening, would later write about how this incident revealed the true nature of greatness, not in demanding special treatment, but in respecting those who maintain order and security. The security. Team's response added another layer to the unfolding drama. Bellamy Ray, monitoring the situation from the security office, observed through the cameras how other team members had positioned themselves, not to confront, but to support their colleagues' professional stand. Cleo Hastings, the venue's protocol officer, found herself in an unusual position. While her job typically involved smoothing over such situations, something told her to hold back. The scene playing out before her was becoming a powerful testament to professional integrity. The reaction of other VIP guests added yet another dimension to the situation. Fiona Blake, a prominent sports executive who had just passed through. Security stayed to watch, clearly impressed by the quiet dignity of the exchange. Her presence added to the growing crowd of notable observers. Indy Vaughan, handling the event's timing and coordination, realized that the schedule was starting to slip, but somehow that seemed secondary to the powerful moment unfolding at the entrance. Some things, she realized, were more important than perfect timing. As the situation continued to develop, Mira Grayson, the venue's chief of operations, arrived on scene. Her decades of experience had taught her to read situations quickly, and what she saw made her pause. This wasn't a problem to be solved. It was a principle being upheld. The next few moments would prove crucial. Adira Vale, coordinating with various department heads, had already prepared multiple contingency plans. But as she observed the scene, she realized that standard protocols for dealing with VIP issues wouldn't apply here. Something more meaningful was taking place. Cambria Steele, managing the event's security logistics, noticed how the other guards had started emulating Quincy's calm demeanor. His professional stance was creating a ripple effect, elevating the entire security team's presence. The way the situation was unfolding caught the attention of Kaya Mercer, a behavioral analyst who specialized in crowd dynamics. She noted how the initial shock and disbelief from onlookers had transformed into something approaching reverence for the professional display they were witnessing. What happened in the next few moments would not only resolve the immediate situation, but would also become a powerful statement about respect, protocol, and true greatness. As tension held everyone in its grip, the scene was set for an unexpected demonstration of why some rules exist, not to restrict, but to protect and preserve order. The resolution, when it came, would prove why sometimes the most powerful moments in sports history happen off the court. But for now, all eyes remained fixed on this unprecedented encounter between unwavering professional duty and legendary status. The pivotal moment arrived when Fallon Kerr, the event's operations manager, received an urgent message through her earpiece. The charity event was scheduled to begin in exactly 15 minutes, and their guest of honor was still standing at the security checkpoint. Yet somehow, the usual panic such a delay would cause was overshadowed by the remarkable scene unfolding before everyone's eyes. Celine Archer, who had organized countless high-profile events, watched as history was being written in an unexpected way. The tall figure, whose presence had commanded courts and captured imaginations worldwide, stood quietly as Quincy Mercer maintained his professional stance. There was something almost poetic about this moment, a dance of protocol and prestige that no one had choreographed. Reese Camden, handling guest relations, observed how the other VIPs in line had fallen silent, their own credentials clutched tightly in their hands. The usual chatter of privilege and impatience had been replaced by something more profound, a collective holding of breath as they witnessed this unexpected collision of duty and fame. Skylar Vaughan, the venue's chief of security, had started moving toward the scene but found himself slowing down. Years of experience had taught him to read situations instinctively, and what he saw wasn't a crisis. It was a masterclass in professional integrity. The way Quincy stood, neither aggressive nor intimidated, spoke volumes about his training and character. The tension took an interesting turn when Taylor Quinn, one of the event coordinators, attempted to intervene. She approached with a clipboard and a ready explanation. But before she could speak, the tall figure raised his hand slightly, a subtle but clear gesture that he wanted this to play out properly. Casey Frost, monitoring the security cameras, noticed something remarkable. Despite the growing crowd and mounting pressure, Quincy's posture remained exactly as it had been trained, professional, alert, and properly positioned. It was security work at its finest, regardless of who stood before him. Rowan Blair, a veteran security supervisor, would later describe this as a watershed moment in venue security. The way Quincy handled himself was becoming a real-time demonstration of everything they taught, but rarely saw executed so perfectly under pressure. The situation gained another layer of complexity when Blake Hollis, the event's media coordinator, noticed several phones being raised in the crowd. Despite strict protocols against unauthorized photography in the security area, people couldn't resist trying to capture this remarkable moment. Phoenix Cruz, handling crowd control, found himself torn between enforcing the no photography rule and letting this historic moment be documented. Quinn Mercer, overseeing guest registration, watched as her digital tablet displayed increasingly urgent messages from various department heads. The delay was creating a ripple effect through the carefully planned schedule, but somehow those logistics seemed secondary to the profound demonstration of professional principles playing out before them. Dakota Flynn, one of the senior security trainers, found herself mentally taking notes. This would become a case study in their training programs, how to maintain professional standards under the most challenging circumstances. The way Quincy kept his composure while respectfully insisting on proper procedure was textbook perfect. The resolution continued to unfold as Farrah Iverson, handling guest relations, saw the impact this interaction was having on other attendees. The usual impatience of VIP check-ins had been replaced by a newfound appreciation for security protocols. Farrah Keaton noticed how guests were now voluntarily presenting their credentials before being asked. What happened next would cement this moment in United Center history. As Farrah North coordinated with various team members, she witnessed the legendary athlete doing something unexpected. Instead of moving on once cleared, he paused to shake Quincy's hand, a gesture that Farrah Prescott would later describe as the moment when status and respect found perfect harmony. The significance of this interaction wasn't lost on Finian Garrison, who had spent years handling high-profile security situations. The way both men had maintained their dignity and professionalism throughout the encounter was becoming an immediate legend among the security staff, as Finian Granger would later recount. Finian Iverson, managing event protocol, watched as this moment transformed from a potential crisis into something entirely different, a powerful demonstration of why principles matter more than status. Finian Osborne observed how this interaction was already changing the way other guests approached security checkpoints. The impact continued to ripple through the venue as Finian York, coordinating with various departments, saw how this moment was reshaping their entire approach to VIP security. What could have been a confrontation had become a testament to professionalism, respect, and the importance of maintaining standards regardless of circumstances. As the situation resolved itself, Gia Archer, handling media relations, recognized that this would become more than just an interesting anecdote. It was becoming a powerful statement about respect, professionalism, and the true nature of greatness. The way both men had handled themselves, Quincy with unwavering professionalism and the legendary athlete with genuine respect, was creating a new standard for celebrity security interactions. The aftermath of the encounter began to unfold like ripples in a still pond. Gia Ingram, documenting the event protocols, noticed how the entire atmosphere of the venue had shifted. What could have been a moment of confrontation had transformed into something that Gia Jennings would later describe as a masterclass in mutual respect. Gia Langston, coordinating security operations, observed how other guards had begun emulating Quincy's composed demeanor. The professional standard he had maintained while checking the credentials of basketball's greatest icon was already becoming legendary among the security staff. Gia Underwood noted how the usual chatter on security channels had taken on a more formal, professional tone. Griffin Archer, managing event security, watched as the legendary athlete made his way into the venue, but not before doing something unexpected. He turned back to Quincy and said something that Griffin Ashford, standing nearby, would later share in security training sessions. "You're doing your job exactly as you should. Never change that." Griffin Barlow, overseeing VIP protocols, noticed how this brief interaction had immediately impacted other celebrities' behavior. The usual expectations of special treatment had been replaced by a more respectful approach to security procedures. Griffin Delaney observed several high-profile guests voluntarily presenting their credentials before even being asked. The situation took on new significance when Griffin Jameson, handling media relations, began receiving inquiries about the incident. But unlike many celebrity encounters, Griffin Overton realized this one needed no spin or management. Its power lay in its authenticity and the mutual professionalism displayed by both parties. Hannah Archer, coordinating with various department heads, watched as the story began spreading through the venue. Not as a tale of conflict, but as Hannah Easton would later describe it, a moment when true greatness met unwavering principle, and both won. Hannah Fairchild noticed how guests were now approaching security checkpoints with notably more respect. The impact continued to resonate as Hannah Garrison, managing event operations, saw how this interaction was reshaping their entire approach to VIP security. Ina Iverson observed security team members standing straighter, checking credentials more carefully, inspired by their colleagues' unwavering professionalism. Hugo Easton, overseeing security training, immediately recognized the educational value of what had just transpired. The way Quincy had maintained his professional standards, even when face-to-face with an icon, was becoming, as Hugo Jennings noted, the new gold standard for security protocol. The evening took another interesting turn when Hugo Lennon, handling guest relations, noticed something remarkable. Other VIPs weren't showing any signs of impatience about the brief delay. Instead, as Hugo Merrill observed, they seemed almost honored to be part of this memorable moment. Hugo Penrose, coordinating with corporate sponsors, found himself fielding unusual comments. Instead of complaints about security procedures, sponsors were expressing admiration for the venue's professional standards. Hugo Quimby noted how this incident was already being discussed as a positive example of integrity in action. The significance of the moment deepened when Hugo Radcliffe, managing public relations, began receiving messages from various media outlets. But as Hugo Xavier would note in his report, this wasn't going to be a story about celebrity privilege being challenged. It was becoming a narrative about mutual respect and professional integrity. Ika Delaney, handling security communications, observed how the incident had transformed the entire security team's dynamic. The usual tension between celebrity status and security protocols had been replaced by what Ika Ingram would describe as a new understanding of professional dignity. The situation gained another dimension when Ika Osborne, coordinating VIP movements, noticed how other celebrities were now approaching security with a different attitude. Ika Prescott observed several high-profile guests making a point of thanking security personnel, a marked change from the usual hurried pass-through. Ileana Carver, managing event protocols, watched as this shift in attitude spread throughout the venue. What Ileana Ellison had initially feared might become a security incident had instead transformed into a powerful demonstration of why principles matter more than status. The evening continued to unfold as Ileana Overton, handling guest services, noticed something remarkable. The usual hierarchy of celebrity events had been subtly but significantly altered. Ileana Penrose observed how the security team was now being treated with a new level of respect by all guests. Jessamine Ellison, coordinating with various departments, saw how this moment was already becoming part of venue lore. The way both men had handled themselves, Quincy with unwavering professionalism and the legendary athlete with genuine respect, was, as Jessamine Halstead noted, rewriting the rules of celebrity security interactions. The impact continued to ripple through the event as Jessamine Nolan, managing security operations, observed how this interaction had elevated the entire security team's presence. Jessamine Osborne noticed how other guards were now approaching their duties with renewed pride and professionalism. Joaquin Ashford, overseeing event security, watched as the story began circulating among staff and guests. But unlike typical celebrity encounters, this one carried a different message. As Joaquin Harlow would later explain, it was becoming a story about mutual respect and the importance of maintaining professional standards. The evening took on additional significance when Joaquin Lennon, handling media relations, began receiving requests for details about the security guard who had maintained his principles even when face-to-face with greatness. Joaquin Nolan observed how Quincy's colleagues were already speaking about him with newfound respect. The situation evolved further as Joaquin Overton, coordinating with various security teams, saw how this incident was transforming their entire approach to VIP security. What could have been a moment of tension had become, as Joaquin Penrose would later describe, a defining moment in venue security history. The impact of the interaction continued to spread as Killian Bexley, managing event operations, noticed how the story was being shared, not as a tale of celebrity inconvenience, but as Killian Carver would note, a powerful reminder of why professional integrity matters more than status. The evening's atmosphere had been permanently altered, as Killian Dunbar observed while coordinating security positions. The usual invisible barrier between celebrities and security staff had been replaced by what Killian Lennon would describe as a new model of mutual professional respect. The significance of the moment continued to grow as Keira Langston, handling public relations, realized this story would extend far beyond the venue's walls. But unlike many viral moments involving celebrities, this one carried a different message. As Keira North would later write in her report, it was becoming a testament to the power of unwavering professional principles. As the evening progressed, the true significance of what had transpired began to crystallize. Keira Underwood, managing event documentation, noticed how conversations throughout the venue had shifted. What had started as a potential security incident had evolved into what Keira Wexler would later describe as a watershed moment in celebrity security relations. Keira Winslow, coordinating with various department heads, observed how this single interaction was reshaping protocols throughout the venue. Lana Bexley noticed security teams adopting a more confident professional stance, inspired by Quincy's unwavering dedication to principle. The story gained additional layers when Lana Channing, handling media relations, began receiving calls from major sports networks. But unlike typical celebrity encounters, this one carried a different message. Lana Dunbar observed how reporters were focusing not on confrontation, but on the mutual respect displayed by both parties. Lana Easton, overseeing security operations, watched as the incident became an immediate teaching moment. Security briefings were already incorporating what Lana Ellison would call the Quincy Standard, a perfect balance of professionalism, respect, and unwavering adherence to protocol. The evening took another interesting turn when Lana Fairchild, managing VIP relations, noticed a significant shift in celebrity behavior. Lana Iverson observed how other high-profile guests were now approaching security checkpoints with notably more respect and patience. Leif Ashford, coordinating security training, recognized how this moment would transform their entire approach to VIP security. What Leif Bexley had initially feared might become a difficult situation had instead become, as Leif Foster would note, a masterclass in professional integrity. The impact continued to resonate as Leif Granger, handling event operations, saw how this interaction was influencing every aspect of venue security. Leif Kensington observed security team members carrying themselves with renewed pride, their role elevated by Quincy's display of unwavering professionalism. The situation gained deeper meaning when Leif Merrill, managing public relations, began receiving requests for interviews with Quincy. But as Leif Osborne noted, Quincy maintained his professional demeanor, deflecting attention back to the importance of consistent security protocols. Merrick Archer, overseeing venue operations, watched as this story began taking on a life of its own, not as a tale of celebrity privilege being challenged, but as Merrick Ellison would describe it, a powerful reminder of why principles matter more than status. The evening's atmosphere continued to evolve as Merrick Halstead, coordinating with various departments, noticed how this incident had transformed the usual dynamics of a high-profile event. Merrick Jennings observed how the traditional barriers between security staff and VIP guests had been replaced by mutual respect. The significance deepened when Merrick Kensington, handling security protocols, saw how this interaction was already being incorporated into training materials. Merrick Sutter noted how new security staff were being told about the night when professionalism met greatness, and both won. The impact spread further as Merrick Urban, managing event security, witnessed how this moment was reshaping their entire approach to VIP interactions. What could have been a confrontation had become, as Merrick Winslow would later explain, a textbook example of professional integrity in action. Mina Nolan, coordinating guest relations, observed how the story was being shared among staff and guests alike. But unlike typical celebrity encounters, this one carried a different message. Mina Osborne noticed how it was being discussed as a moment of mutual respect rather than conflict. The situation took on additional significance when Mina Sutter, handling media inquiries, began receiving questions about venue security protocols. But as Mina Vernon would note, the focus wasn't on restrictions or confrontation. It was on the importance of maintaining professional standards regardless of circumstances. The evening's impact continued to grow as Nico Dunbar, overseeing security operations, saw how this incident was transforming their entire approach to celebrity interactions. What Nico Fairchild had initially worried might become a PR challenge had instead become a powerful statement about professional integrity. The story gained new dimensions when Nico Keaton, managing event protocols, noticed how other venues were already reaching out to learn more about their security procedures. Nico Truett observed how this single interaction was becoming a model for professional security conduct across the industry. The significance expanded further as Noah Delaney, coordinating with various security teams, saw how this moment was reshaping their entire approach to VIP security. What could have been a moment of tension had become, as Noah Granger would later describe, a defining moment in venue security history. The evening's legacy began taking shape as Noah Montgomery, handling public relations, received requests for training materials based on this incident. Noah Quimby noticed how other venues were eager to incorporate what they were now calling the Quincy Protocol into their own security procedures. The impact continued to resonate as Odette Fairchild, managing security operations, saw how this interaction had elevated the entire profession. What Odette Jameson had witnessed was becoming, as Odette Urban would later write, a new standard for professional security conduct. The situation gained additional significance when Odette Vernon, coordinating with various departments, noticed how this incident was already changing security training approaches. Odette Xavier observed how new recruits were being taught about the importance of maintaining professional standards, regardless of who stands before them. The evening's influence spread further as Odin Barlow, handling event security, saw how this moment was reshaping their entire approach to celebrity interactions. What could have been a confrontation had become, as Odin Carver would later explain, a powerful reminder of why principles matter more than status. The impact deepened as Odin Truitt, managing venue operations, witnessed how this incident was transforming their entire security culture. What Odin Zeller had initially worried might become a difficult situation had instead become a testament to the power of unwavering professional integrity. As the evening drew to a close, Paxton Archer, coordinating with various security teams, saw how this moment would leave a lasting impact on venue security protocols. What had started as a potential confrontation had become, as Paxton Channing would later describe, a defining moment in the relationship between celebrity culture and professional security. The significance of the incident continued to grow, as Paxton Delaney, handling media relations, received inquiries from security training organizations nationwide. But as Paxton Easton noted, the focus wasn't on the celebrity involved. It was on the unwavering professionalism displayed by Quincy and the respect it had earned. In the days and weeks that followed, the true impact of that evening began to crystallize. Paxton Granger, documenting the event's legacy, noticed how this single interaction had sparked a transformation in venue security culture. What Paxton Harlow would later describe as the moment professionalism met legend had become a touchstone for security training nationwide. The story's reach extended far beyond the United Center as Paxton Keaton, managing security protocols, began receiving requests from venues across the country. They all wanted to know about what Paxton North had dubbed the Quincy Method, maintaining unwavering professional standards regardless of who stands before you. Priya Fairchild, coordinating security training, observed how this incident had reshaped their entire approach to VIP interactions. What Priya Keaton had witnessed was becoming, as Priya Montgomery would later write in the security training manual, a masterclass in professional integrity. The lasting impact became clear when Priya Radcliffe, handling venue operations, noticed how other security teams were adopting similar protocols. Quentin Archer observed that what had started as a potential confrontation had evolved into a model for professional conduct throughout the industry. The transformation continued as Quentin Carver, managing event security, saw how this moment had elevated the entire profession. What Quentin Channing had initially worried might become a difficult situation had instead become, as Quentin Dunbar would note, a defining moment in security protocol. The ripple effect spread further when Quentin Foster, coordinating with various departments, noticed how this incident had changed the dynamics between security staff and VIP guests. Quentin Lennon observed that the usual tension had been replaced by mutual respect and understanding. The story gained additional significance when Quentin Nolan, handling public relations, began receiving inquiries from security training organizations. But as Quentin Urban would explain, this wasn't just about celebrity encounters. It was about maintaining professional standards under any circumstances. Quinn Bexley, overseeing security operations, watched as this single interaction continued to influence venue protocols nationwide. What Quinn Channing had witnessed was becoming, as Quinn Foster would later describe, a new standard for professional excellence. The impact deepened as Quinn Jameson, managing event security, saw how this moment had transformed their entire approach to VIP security. What could have been a confrontation had become, as Quinn Nolan would later explain, a powerful reminder of why principles matter more than status. The significance expanded further when Rhea Fairchild, coordinating security training, noticed how this incident was being incorporated into professional development programs. Rhea Foster observed that new recruits were being taught about the night when integrity met celebrity and integrity won. The story's influence grew as Rhea Ingram, handling venue operations, saw how this interaction had reshaped their entire security culture. What Rhea Jennings had witnessed was becoming, as Rhea Langston would later write, a blueprint for professional conduct in high-pressure situations. The transformation continued as Ronan Harlow, managing security protocols, noticed how this incident had changed their entire approach to celebrity interactions. What Ronan Kensington had initially feared might become a PR challenge had instead become a powerful statement about professional integrity. The lasting impact became evident when Ronan Penrose, coordinating with various security teams, saw how this moment had elevated the entire profession. What Ronan Radcliffe had witnessed was becoming, as Ronan Urban would later describe, a defining moment in venue security history. The story's significance deepened as Sarai Foster, handling event operations, noticed how this interaction had transformed their entire approach to VIP security. What Sarai Radcliffe had observed was becoming, as Sarai Urban would later explain, a model for professional excellence. The impact continued to resonate as Sarai Winslow, managing security training, saw how this incident had changed their entire perspective on professional conduct. What Sarai Yardley had witnessed was becoming a cornerstone of security protocol nationwide. The transformation expanded further when Stellan Archer, coordinating with various departments, noticed how this moment had reshaped their entire approach to celebrity interactions. What Stellan Barlow had initially worried might become a difficult situation had instead become a powerful testament to professional integrity. The story's influence grew as Stellan Carver, handling venue operations, saw how this interaction had elevated the entire security profession. What Stellan Harlow had witnessed was becoming, as Stellan Prescott would later describe, a new standard for professional excellence. As time passed, the incident's legacy only grew stronger. Talia Ashford, managing security protocols, observed how this single interaction had transformed their entire approach to VIP security. What Talia Bexley had witnessed was becoming, as Talia Dunbar would later explain, a defining moment in professional conduct. The lasting impact became clear when Talia Ellison, coordinating security training, noticed how this incident had changed their entire perspective on professional integrity. What Talia Garrison had observed was becoming, as Talia Truitt would later write, a model for security excellence worldwide. In the end, this wasn't just a story about a security guard and a basketball legend. It was about something more fundamental, the power of unwavering professional principles, the importance of mutual respect, and the truth that real greatness recognizes and respects greatness in others. The incident taught everyone present that true legends aren't just made on the basketball court, they're made in moments of principle. in displays of unwavering professional integrity and in the quiet dignity of doing what's right, regardless of who stands before you. As this video concludes, we invite you to share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever witnessed a moment where professional integrity met celebrity status? How did it change your perspective on true greatness? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories that remind us why principles matter more than status. Remember, as Quincy Mercer proved that night, it's not about who you're facing. It's about staying true to your principles, maintaining your professional standards, and treating everyone with the same level of respect and dignity. Sometimes the greatest moments in history happen not on the court or field, but in those quiet instances when principle meets power, and both emerge stronger